Hello, everyone. If you have not heard what happened this morning on the Long Island Railroad, service was suspended during the height of the peak morning rush hour because an unauthorized person was struck by a train near the Woodside station. I have another article. The New York Post has confirmed that it was an unauthorized woman who was not supposed to be on the tracks and was fatally struck by an M7 train earlier this morning. So, we're going to get into what happened on the railroad from two articles, Pix 11, New York Post, and then I'll show you my inbox on the fan mail. So we'll take a look at this. So, this was first reported by the Long Island Railroad Twitter account at 5:10 a.m. Now, they're supposedly saying this was an equipment trim, but other reports are claiming that this could have been a not-in-service M7 train. So, there is a possibility that a not-in-service M7 could have, in fact, struck this woman. We just don't know at this particular moment. There is a picture from the New York Post that is suggesting that a non-passenger M7 was involved, but again, details are still sketchy at this particular moment. But this is what the Pix 11 report said. Service was initially suspended between Jamaica and Penn Station in Manhattan due to the incident. Around 6:20 a.m., the Long Island Railroad tweeted that limited westbound service had been restored, but customers were advised to expect delays and train cancellations. Riders can check the Long Island Railroad Twitter for the latest information on cancellations and service updates, so we don't need to get into that. But I want to give a flaw on what happened on the railroad this morning, and this is what I want to talk to you about. So, okay, good move by the railroad to cross honor. First of all, Port Washington branch service was supposedly not affected, but the other branches were. I bet you the Port Washington branch was overcrowded this morning. In the age of trying to social distance, that's not acceptable. Just saying. Alright, so they told passengers to use train service between Atlantic Terminal, transfer to the 2 and the 3 lines to get into Manhattan. Now, here's another flaw I want to go into the railroad's fault here. And this is where I think Philip Bang needs to be held accountable. So, what had happened was they cross-honored on the J and the Z. Now, remember, we're not going to have our E service back at Jamaica Center and Suffolk Boulevard JFK Station until November. Because remember, they're still doing the track replacement. So either way, the Long Island Railroad was supposed to cross-honor all those passengers. But the issue was, you had no service. So basically, you had to tell passengers to take a westbound train to Atlantic Terminal. But here's the flaw I have with the Long Island Railroad, and this is what I guess Philip Bang has no clue about the direction of Jamaica like I do, because I have done this before. F train. Let me Google this. This is a simple thing you can Google. Look at this. I'll show you right here. Let's go here, and I'll show you what I want to talk to you about. I think Matt Camper even brought this up today, and if he did, good for Matt Camper, because this is what got me upset this morning. Okay? Let's do an illustration, shall we? This is simple 101 right here. Simple 101 right here. Look at this. You know what they should have done? Here's what I would have done if I was Philip Bang. Okay? Why didn't you make the passengers walk from Suffolk Boulevard, from Archer Avenue, up to Hillside? That's not the right thing to do here, you know? So let me just pull up Suffolk Boulevard, Archer Avenue. Okay. So what you could have done, in theory, we don't want bus, we want walking. I've done this walk before. It's only a 10-minute walk. Why couldn't the railroad cross honor on the F line at Sutphin Boulevard this morning. I really do not get Philip Bang's logic. So, if this ever happens again, God forbid that we have another suspension because, a 12-9 happened. Philip Bang, you need to do this next time. This is a simple fix. What you could have done, and this is so simple. It's so simple. Let's look at the subway map. And thank goodness I have this bookmarked. I should have this bookmarked. So, see this? Move it up. Move it up. See this? Move it a little bit to the right. A little bit to the right. There we go. A little bit more. There. Okay. See this? So here's Sutphin Boulevard, okay? What you could have done, and this is so simple, just cross honor on the F, okay? You could have had E-trains diverted to Jamaica 179th Street, done that instead, or you can't do that, tell the passengers take the F and go to Kew Gardens and just transfer for the E train. Simple. Because at least if you had the E still run from Jamaica Van Wyck, that's what could have happened. Simple fix right there. But no, we're the Long Island Railroad. We don't put our thinking caps on. You know? That's the way I want to say it, you know? Because sometimes Philip Bang could just not think, or maybe he suggested the idea to Pat Foy, and Pat Foy told him, "Oh, you can't do that. We're not going to allow it." So, trust me, you know, it's... Alright, so let's get into this New York Post article. And the Post confirmed that it was a woman, and sadly, she was pronounced deceased at the scene. Very awful that this had happened. You know, I'd certainly hope that this woman wasn't thinking of, you know, doing something. And trust me, that would be sad. Or maybe she just had a medical episode, didn't realize where she was, and, you know, not safe to assume. But they did get a coroner, which was expected. So, sad to hear that this happened. So, checking the emails, I can report that the railroad did send me this, that they did restore service right before 8:30 this morning, but too little too late, because what would have been the point when you had the on-peak trains and then people couldn't get to work this morning? And I'm talking about the workers who actually have to be at work. Those people, you know. Imagine if they, you know, were dealing with this. And, you know, the local media should be held accountable because, you know, News 12 could have went out live to any Long Island Railroad station on the network. Think about it. Woodbury is not that far from Hicksville. They could have got a reporter out to Hicksville this morning and asked riders, you know, how are you impacted this morning? Or maybe even go to Seaford or Ottawa. I think that's the closest South Shore station I could think of that's close to Woodbury. But no. Only when you found out about it was during traffic and transit. You know? And I bet you tonight News 12 is not even going to bring this up. They're not even going to bring up what happened. Not even... At least do a 30-second mention. You know? But then people like Matt Camper would get upset. They would say, oh, they could have done it longer. Which, it's fair. You know, the real Long Island residents would feel like they're being censored again. Especially your Mid-Island folks like Matt Camper, who lives in East Meadow. But, hey, you know, I'm just upset that Philip Bang probably didn't put his thinking cap on. Or what had happened was, you know, maybe the idea was suggested. Trust me, you know, I would have asked Internal Affairs, because again, I'm close with them. You know, to at least cross honor on the F. You know, so the cross honoring ended around 9 a.m. this morning. So, yeah. So, I think with that, we are going to wrap this up. Very, very bad impact this morning on the Long Island Railroad. Just awful to hear what had happened at Woodside. Condolences go out to this woman's family and friends. I'm sure they're grieving right now. Awful, awful tragedy. But again, there was a better way to handle this. I just don't understand why the railroad could have not crossed on it on the F. That could have been a simple fix. But again, sometimes Philip Bang maybe doesn't use his thinking cap, or Pat Foy told him he couldn't. So that's what probably happened. I'm only assuming these things because, again, if I was Long Island Railroad president, that's what I would have done. I would have just said, let's cross honor on the F. Tell people to walk up Suffolk Boulevard. It's not a long walk. It's only 10 minutes. You don't even have to, do that. Or, at least on the Q20 or the Q44, they should have just said, look, if you have a railroad ticket, get on board. I'll take you to Suffolk Boulevard. The drivers could have at least done that. If you had a ticket on the railroad, you just could have shown the bus driver that you were going to take the F train to Kew Gardens Union Turnpike and at least take the E. And another thing I forgot to mention, what about all those people that were impacted that need to go to Hunters Point Avenue? Because remember, in the morning, you have all the customers who are trying to get to work to Hunters Point Avenue, and those diesel trains got impacted this morning. So, again, no logic. No logic that you're basically telling people, oh, you can only take the J and the C. Yeah, that's why I was suggesting that idea on the F. At least think about the customers who need to get to Hunters Point Avenue in Long Island City this morning. But no, once again, it seems Philip Bang is being censored, or maybe his thinking cap just wasn't on. Just saying, sometimes you don't use our thinking caps. Obviously, because again, I'm from Queens. I know the area very well. I've done the walk personally from Suffolk and Archer to Hillside just to take the F train. So I've done it before. That's why I've only recommended that idea. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully no more antics today. I'm praying there's nothing like this that happens for the rest of the week or for a while, because the last thing we need is more Long Island Railroad chaos than we had this morning. And thankfully, I slept through it. So, thank you all very much for watching. If you're new, subscribe. I would appreciate it. We're almost close to 1,250 subs. That's pretty good in that regard. Till the next one, please take care.